What do y'all think about what Coach Sampson said?
Yeah, I co-sign with a lot of what he said. Um, because again, and I always have to say this to everybody, I'm on the players' side. I because it has really helped. If you look at Olivia Miles, had she not been able to get in that portal and go to TCU, her stock right now wouldn't be what it is. She would not have had the kind of season that she was able to have. And I think Kadu from Michigan also was a portal kid. I think, right? So I think in that aspect of it, man, it some players need that opportunity, but I think some of the problems is it's not regulated. So kids are just in and out, almost as if it's a trend. It's like, okay, I'm gonna do this because I can do it, and it's not necessarily the thing to do. So again, I'm on the player side because some players are will get into a better situation, but then there are some that are just doing it and putting themselves out there with no advisement, no nothing, just looking and chasing a dollar, and then that whatever's promised may not be. So, but my main thing is this: when I think about the portal and how many kids are in there now, 2,000 and something or whatever,
Yep.
my thing then becomes, what are we teaching the kids about real life? When it gets hard, you can just go and just change your mind and switch up. Like, we're not teaching them, I don't think, with it just being that open, or like real life situations. But I agree. So what I think there should be, and I think that's in place now, is you get one transfer, and then after that, I think there should be some kind of penalties when there's nothing, just where you just have to transfer like that. So I agree with a lot. I agree with what he says, like 100%.
AJ, Will, who wants to chime in next?
Refer to the distinguished gentleman with the red and white.
You know what? I listen. I know things are different. Um, I was a walk on at a school where the coach came in and told about 60 of us, if I didn't recruit you, I'm not going to play you. I didn't
Hmm.
have money to transfer. I didn't have that ability. And my whole future was determined by a guy who never even took the time to get to know me. And yeah, I had a dad who said, "You're not going to quit. You're going to stay on the scout team and be the best scout player that you can." That was a life lesson. If I was in now, oh, I'd transfer my butt every chance I got. Because when you look at the amount of money and opportunity that's out there, we can't lock it into the old mentality of what it used to be. If I got to prove myself for a year here, then go prove myself for a year there, and I have the ability to do that and I want to do it, then who am I to say no, that needs to be legislated? And please hear me, Laquita, I'm not trying to counterbalance your point or anything like that. I think we all have valid views of this, but it resonates with me. It resonates with the kids that I've seen my sons play with and saw what scholarship athletes had to go through just to be able to come to my house and get a meal because they didn't have the ability to go home for Thanksgiving. I want these kids to get every dollar and every opportunity they can because for too long they were the last ones to receive, and damn the scholarship. Forget that. They earned that. That is not a gift. So I want these kids to have every opportunity, and it shouldn't be legislated whatsoever.
Will, AD, next.
I agree. I don't have a problem with kids transferring, year to year. I mean, some kids go into it with a game plan. I know of a student athlete right now that his plan is to go to a lower level school with the intent of transferring at the end of the season. That's just the game. That's just the way the game is played right now. What I will say is what I wish and what I hope to have regulation on is the agent and the fees because in professional sports, I
Yeah.
think in NBA the cap is 4%.
Yep.
An
Hmm.
agent
Yes,
can
sir.
make
Yep.
on a deal, whereas now in college these agents are getting 20%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the regulation I would like to see,
Yeah.
because there's nothing from stopping any one of us from purporting ourselves as agents, going to a student athlete and saying, "Hey, I can get you a deal," and then, oh, by the way, I'm gonna take 20% off the top.
AD, go
That's
ahead.
what I like to see regulated. But as far as the student athlete and the portability of their eligibility, I don't have a problem with that, because as Coach said, those are the rules as we currently stand. So
AD,
The current NCAA basketball champion was the best team money could buy because all those guys transferred in. And to me, as far as regulations and all the other thing, Laquita, you asked the question: what are we teaching these kids? What are these kids looking at otherwise? I mean, this is a free fall. This is a who's got the best missiles, and whoever can come up with the best missiles, they gonna win the game. And I think the emblematic of the University of Michigan. I mean, yeah, they were a well-oiled machine. They put it together, but all those guys transferred in, and I guarantee they didn't come looking for a gym bag. They came looking for a Louis Vuitton, and all of them came there and got their Louis Vuitton. And in the meantime, they got walked out with the championship.
Amen.
So, what are we really teaching these kids? You teaching the kids that the system work if you know how to work the system. So, if anything, there's a lesson learned, and don't let the system work you. Understand, learn how to make the system work for you instead of letting the system work you, and then you will walk away with nothing.
And I understand that. Like I understand all points of this. And I'm coming because I was a player that had that portal been there. I needed to transfer and wouldn't be able to. But some of the athletes that I talk to have transferred every year. They have no degree plan. They just put something down as a major. They have no intentions of, they have no game plan like after this is over. That's why I say it feels like if they're not being guided or the right people are on their side to advise them, okay, this is what we need to do, and there's no strategy in it, kids are just floating around following the dollar, looking for that big money opportunity with no education plan whatsoever outside of that. I have a player now that plays football that this would be like his third or fourth transfer. He's gotten hurt at every school. I asked him what he was majoring. He threw something out there just because, just to do it. But he has no plan. And he's injured again at this new school that he's at. So I'm just saying, like in the aspect of no plan, no strategy, everything they, if that's what they're going to do, then there should be something in place that's going to help guide them and advise them. And my first thought is your first pick should be, you should have already researched it out until you know that this is where you're going to be. I'm feeling your first pick should be your pick. You don't need the portal anyway. But that's where I'm coming from.
who
I
wants
think
to respond? Hold on, let me do the comments. A couple of comments, Mr. Big Texco with this one. I'm all for players making money, but the only negative is the rich get richer, meaning you are going to see the same big teams winning conferences and tournaments. So little teams don't stand a chance. Y'all agree with that? That's pretty much been the case for a while. But anyhow, AJ, go ahead. You're shaking your head.
Yeah, I don't agree with that because we don't see Alabama standing on the football national championship all over again. We don't see Duke. We don't see North Carolina on the basketball side. We're seeing schools that typically would not be able to compete on those levels, able to compete for some of the athletes that were pretty much regionalized. So I think that the schools that you're hearing complaining are complaining because now they no longer have that upper edge. I think that there are a lot of things that that Laquita said are very valid, but I think that touches on the bigger issue. Go into a local high school and speak with the guidance counselor and find out how many of them are actually laying out a plan for each individual students on their post high school graduation. Many of them are doing the best they can with the files that they have. So it's a bigger issue that for some reason we highlight more when it comes to athletes because of all the money involved, all the lights involved, all the TV deals involved. And again, it is no different for a kid who changes his major 5 times from architecture to engineering to computer science to philosophy. It's no different. And nobody's talking about those kids. They can transfer 58,000 times and nobody's concerned. But when an athlete does it, because of the amount of money that's available now that has literally not been available to them but made off of them, it's hard for me to get nitpicky on all the little nuances. I wish every kid had the guidance, the direction, the plans, the post-graduation plans, and all of that. But it's just, it's a bigger issue to me than just NIL, name, image, and likeness.